throughout my geometrical journey, I've tested a lot of devices to play Geometry Dash on. And that's why today, I'm gonna be replaying with all of those, ranking them from worst to best. So let's start off with the mobile device. Well, this one is in last place for many reasons. The main one is surely performance. Like, I don't really know how people are able to beat crazy levels on this thing, since I know it can vary, but in general, all mobile devices that I know are so delayed. And as you may know, Geometry Dash is a game focused on precision. So how can you click precisely when you have that much delay? I wasn't even able to reach 9 circles wave part on this thing, while on PC I can easily beat it in one attempt because I'm wave carried. But anyways, talking about how comfortable it is to play on, well, it is very comfortable because you can literally play wherever you want, like laying on your bed, on the couch. You know, that's more comfortable than feeling like a shrimp on the PC. Another thing is the sound, which is kinda lame. So, final thoughts. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10 on performance. Like, I know it can vary, but on my perspective, I think that's a fair score. For comfort, I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10 because it really depends on where you are. And clicking sound, 1 out of 10. There's literally nothing special about it. So, next up, we have...
Sup guys, Jill here, and I'm a professional banana player. I've been in levels like Slaughterhouse, Limbo, Grief, and blah blah blah. This device is just the perfect gaming device for precision. Like, it got 16,000 polling rate, which makes it literally the best device you can get. About the ergonomics, I'd say it fits very well. The clicks are soft and creamy, something you wouldn't find in keyboards or keypads. Overall, it's just very good, 10 out of 10.
Okay, next up we have a controller. To be fair, I really underestimated this thing, because I've seen not many players, but some players playing on this thing like seriously, such as that guy who beat the golden on the controller. Sorry, I don't remember your name. And I've always thought like, man, these guys are crazy. Why don't they just play on a keyboard or on a mouse, something like that? Well, now I can kinda understand why, since the performance of this thing is surprisingly good, something that I definitely did not expect it. Its response time is really compared to a mouse. It feels the same, to be honest. Another point is that playing on a controller should be really comfortable, but in my opinion, Geometry Dash on it at least is not. My thumb really started hurting after some time, and the click sound is nothing special. That's why I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 on performance, my most genuine 4 out of 10 on comfort, and a 1 out of 10 on click sound. Next up, we have wireless mouse. Well, this one is actually pretty similar to the wired mouse that we're gonna see in a minute. It is not the best choice for playing Geometry Dash, since wireless devices are known for having a higher input delay. So for playing Geometry Dash, you can literally use the same thing but wired. But anyway, the mouse is the most iconic Geometry Dash device, so it is very responsive. Even though it's wireless, I can start pulling up some really good runs on casual levels with this thing, like Deadlocked, or even some decent runs on harder levels such as Bloodbath. The only big problem I've always had when playing on mouse was the CPS limitation, because unfortunately I could not play levels that required a high CPS rate, since the way your hands rest on the mouse don't really help you doing that, being this one of the main reasons that made me switch to keyboard so early. Even though this keyboard I had was terrible, but the mouse is at least pretty comfortable, since it is literally made for being comfortable to hold, I guess. And the click sound is tasty. That's why I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10 on performance, a 9 out of 10 on comfort, and an 8.5 on click sound. Now for the wired mouse. It is surprisingly the same thing as the wireless one. The performance didn't really change that much I expected. Like, I noticed just a few less input delay, but nothing that big. The comfort is also the same because it's a mouse, and the main thing that changed here is the click sound, because this wired mouse I'm using is a Logitech G403, which means it has the classic Logitech clicking sounds, which is iconic, but I don't like it. So in-game, it doesn't have that big of a difference when compared to the wireless mouse. Because of that, I'm gonna give it a same performance rating, the same comfort rating, but for the click sound, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Next up, we have the wireless keyboard. This keyboard I'm using is the Aula F75, which is basically heaven if it was a keyboard. Seriously, I love this keyboard so much, mainly because of its click sound and comfort. It is such a great keyboard to work, but not quite the best option for gaming, since it is not as responsive as a mouse, but just because of how comfortable and how great the click sound is, I'm putting it above the mouses I used. Although the performance is not great, I can still play the game normally, getting really consistent runs on Bloodbath, and even decent runs on Tartarus, or even Tidal Wave. That's why I'm feeling a 6.5 on performance, a 10 out of 10 on comfort, and a 10 out of 10 on click sound. Just hear this thing, it sounds amazing. So next up, we have a wired keyboard. This one is the ACO 3084B Plus. Yeah, that's the name of the keyboard. And I'm genuinely not a big fan of it. The main reason for that is definitely the click sound, because while the other keyboard sends us to heaven, this one sends us to hell. Bro, just hear this, it is not good. The comfort though is not bad, nothing compared to the previous keyboard, but for being a keyboard, it is pretty good. Now, for the performance, since this one is wired, it has a bit less input delay, but generally nothing that big. I could play any casual levels normally as expected, and even pull some okay runs on harder levels such as Slaughterhouse. I've had many problems with this keyboard, such as the switches just randomly breaking while I was playing some games. It even happened here while I was playing Geometry Dash and recording it. Some inputs weren't even being registered, so for a mechanical keyboard, it is definitely not the best option for Geometry Dash. That's why I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 on performance, considering that the switches don't break mid-game, a 9 out of 10 on comfort, and a 4 out of 10 on click sound. It is not good. Now, for the so talked about SIO device. When it comes to devices to play Geometry Dash on, this one simply dominated the community in the past years. I've been using it for more time than most GD players, since I used to play Yosu with it, and it got really famous in the Yosu community first, so that's why. To be fair, I've never felt SIO device to be so incredible as people talk, since I've heard everyone saying that this is the best device for Geometry Dash, but the times I played with it, it actually didn't felt that incredible, since I could definitely notice some delay, but it turns out that this is because I've never updated the firmware of it, meaning that I was using the same old ass firmware that I used to play Yosu with ever since then, and when I updated it, it was literally a game changer. Just then I could definitely understand why people hyped this so much in terms of response time, because when we're talking about lifetime and comfort, the SIO device actually sucks. Playing with it just hurts my wrist so bad. I'm pretty sure that's because of its height that is way lower than other keyboards, and lifetime. I've talked to people that needed to switch their SIO device every single year because the motherboard just decided to not work anymore. In my case, it only started to show some problems after what, 4 years of use, so I assume I got really lucky. And now for the click sound, it is good. My SIO device is modded, it may be because of that. I've actually made a shitty ass tape mod. As you can see, it is really bad, but it works. It got now a really cool sound. That's why I'm feeling a 9.8 on performance, a 5 out of 10 on comfort, and a 7 out of 10 on click sound. Next up, we have the wooden keypad. Well, I bought this one due to the problems that my SIO device started having, and it is definitely the worst amount of money that I've ever spent in my life, since it was meant to cost 291 Robux, but it ended up costing 600 due to taxes. I know that's kind of my problem, but generally, even if I had paid 291, it would still not be worth it, since it is 1000 Hz polling rate, while the SIO device has its 8000 Hz polling rate. The building quality is way better than a SIO device, but unfortunately the main reason that made me drop this one, double clicking. Yeah, unfortunately I've had many problems with double clicking on this keypad, even though the settings that I used weren't that sensitive. And later on I discovered that there's an option on the driver that removes double clicking. I don't know why is that an option, and I just found out about that after I've bought a magnetic keyboard, which is actually pretty funny, but not for me. Comfort wise, it is the same as the SIO device, since it is a keypad. As I've said, the performance is not as good as an updated firmware version of the SIO device, and the clicking sound, I don't know, it is not bad. That's why I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 on performance, the same comfort rating as a SIO device, and also a 7 out of 10 for clicking sound. And now, for the absolute peak of gaming, we have a magnetic keyboard. Man, generally, this one was such an upgrade, not only for Geometry Dash, but for basically any game. This keyboard right here is the Aula Hero 68HE. Yeah, I know, another Aula keyboard. I just love the brand. First of all, it is cheap. I've paid only 450 Robux in it, while on the wooden I've paid 600. It is beautiful. Just look at its lightnings and the keycaps design. The performance of it is perfect since it has 8000 polling rate and the clicking sound of it is majestic, being just behind the Aula F75, and also for comfort it is perfect. I can easily play every single level I want on it, from the easiest to the hardest ones. All the bad gameplay you're seeing here is a skill issue, by the way, nothing related to the keyboard, and it is also the most comfortable keyboard I've ever used. That's why I'm feeling a 10 out of 10 on performance, another 10 out of 10 on comfort, and a 9.5 on clicking sound. With that, the video is over. If you want to, feel free to roast my opinions on the comment section, cause I'll read them all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next one.